Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Howell. I'm here again today with another story for you, and we have come outside because the story that we're going to read today is about a tree. And I want you to look behind me. Do you see this tree right here? This is in my backyard, and it's going to be important. After the story, I'm going to tell you a little story about that tree as well. So, I hope that you are having a great day. It's a little sunny, so I'm sorry that there's a glare on my glasses and my forehead, but I thought it'd be nice to come outside. So, if you can go outside and listen to this story, go ahead. If not, hop on your couch and get cozy, and let's read. Today's story is called Stuck by Oliver Jeffers. You can tell from the title that is stuck in a tree. What do you think is going to happen in this story? Something's gonna get stuck in a tree, I think. It all began when Floyd's kite became stuck in a tree. He tried pulling and swinging, but it wouldn't come unstuck. The trouble really began when he threw his favorite shoe to knock the kite loose. And that got stuck too. So now his kite and a shoe are stuck in the tree. So he threw up his other shoe to knock down his favorite one, and unbelievably, that got stuck as well. See, now he's got a kite and two shoes stuck in a tree. In order to knock down his other shoe, Floyd fetched Mitch. Mitch is his cat. What do you think he's gonna do? Cats get stuck in trees all the time, but this was getting ridiculous. Look, now Mitch is stuck up in the tree too. Floyd fetched a ladder. He was going to sort this all out once and for all. So he's got his ladder. So what do you think he's gonna do? Climb up there? Get the stuff out of the tree? And he threw it. What? Why did he throw the ladder? I'm sure you can guess what happened. It got stuck. The ladder was borrowed from a neighbor and would definitely need to be put back before anyone noticed. And in order to do so, Floyd flung a bucket of paint at it. He threw paint. And wouldn't you know it, the bucket of paint got stuck. Then Floyd tried a duck to knock down the bucket of paint, a chair to knock down the duck, his friend's bicycle to knock down the chair, the kitchen sink to knock down his friend's bicycle, and Floyd's front door to knock down the kitchen sink. He threw a duck, a chair, a bicycle, a sink, and the front door. The family car to knock down their front door. The milkman to knock down the family car. The milkman says, "Did you get up here the same way?" He's talking to the cat. An orangutan to knock down the milkman, who surely had somewhere else to be. He threw an orangutan into the tree. A small boat to knock down the orangutan. A big boat to knock down the small boat. He threw a giant boat. A rhinoceros to knock down the big boat. A long-distance semi-truck to knock down the rhinoceros. The house across the street to knock down the long-distance truck. His neighbor in the house says, "Floyd?" A lighthouse to knock down the house no longer across the street. And a curious whale in the wrong place at the wrong time to knock down the lighthouse. And the whale says, "Hi, what are you doing?" He threw a whale. and they all got stuck. Look at all those things stuck up in the tree. A fire engine was passing and heard all the commotion. The firemen stopped to see if they could help at all. The fireman says, "Can we help at all?" And up they went. First the engine, followed by the firemen, one by one. So Floyd threw all of the firemen and the fire truck into the tree. And there they stayed, stuck between the orangutan and one of the boats. Firemen would definitely be noticed missing, and Floyd knew he'd be in big trouble. Then he had an idea, and he went to find a saw. So he's gonna go get a saw. What do you think he's gonna do with that saw? He lined it up as best he could. Look what he's doing. And hurled it up into the tree. He threw a saw too, instead of cutting the tree down. And that was it. Pop. There was no more room left in the tree, and the kite came unstuck. Floyd was delighted. He had forgotten all about his kite and put it to use immediately, enjoying the rest of his day very much. That night, Floyd fell asleep, exhausted, though before he did, he could have sworn there was something he was forgetting. Now, can you see the tree out the window? Here's the tree. And one of the firemen says, "Hang on a minute, lads. I've got a great idea." So they are all still stuck up in the tree. Now that story, it didn't really follow, if I were making predictions, my class, we talk about predictions a lot. I would have predicted that he was going to use that ladder to climb up into the tree and get the kite. But that's not what happened. He threw the ladder, and when he got the saw, I would have predicted that he was going to saw down the tree. But that's not what happened. He threw it up into the tree as well. So this story doesn't really follow our usual predictions that we would make, but it's a funny story. Now, I told you I had a little story for you about that tree right there. So that big tree right there, it's very tall. One day when Tate was little, he threw up a football. He was throwing a football and it got stuck in the tree, just like in our book. So he went and got Mr. Howell. And Mr. Howell came out, and it was way too high up for Mr. Howell to reach it. So he got a basketball. So he took the basketball and he aimed it and he threw it up at the football to try to get the football unstuck, and guess what happened? The basketball got stuck too. So what did he do? Mr. Howell went and got another basketball. So guess what he did? He took the other basketball and he threw it up in the tree to try to get the football to fall down, and guess what happened? That basketball got stuck. So for a couple days we had 3 balls stuck up in that tree until we had a really big wind and finally they all fell down. So that's my connection with that, with stuck, because it always reminds me of Mr. Howell and Tate trying to get those balls out of the tree because they were all stuck up in the tree, and they just threw a couple more up there and then they were stuck too. I hope you've had a great time listening to this story today. It's one of my favorites, and hopefully I'll see you real soon. See you next time we read.